Hey, it's Anna Cathcart, aka Kitty from XO Kitty, and this is A Day in the Life of XO Kitty Season 2.
Kitty? Kitty! What are you dreaming about? Calculus.
It truly changes every single day what time I get called to set, what time I get picked up. It's never the same, but there's a lot of early mornings, so let's say something like 5:30. Put in my contacts, get in the car. I almost every single morning would listen to music in my big headphones on the way to work and also look out the window and be like major tourist and be so excited of how pretty Seoul was. Normally be listening to something like Noah Khan. That was like a very big one, especially this season. 6:30ish, I guess, we would arrive to set and then get into hair and makeup. Just get into Kitty's look. I feel like Kitty's makeup was pretty consistent throughout the season unless it was something like the ball or like something big. It was pretty much the same routine. Listen to music in the trailer, do my hair, and then go and get changed and get into whatever look Kitty was wearing for the first scene of the day. Probably like a little less than 2 hours, like I say, maybe an hour and a half. 8 a.m., 8:15 after being mic'd, arrive on set, and on the call sheet there's always the time where you're like supposed to get to set and then the time you get picked up, and sometimes those times are so far away that it seems unbelievable, but sometimes you're like 2.5 hours away from set, so it's a very long morning before you actually get started. 6 hours of shooting, something like that, before lunch happens. Lunch is always called lunch no matter what time of day it is, and sometimes we would start like at 7 p.m., start the shoot day at 7 p.m., and then it'd be like middle of the night. It'd be like, it's lunchtime, guys, and it'd be like 3 in the morning, but it's just always gonna be called lunch. We would go to lunch around 2:30. Often we would eat all together. A lot of the time there's a buffet every day, and a lot of time it was Korean food, which was such a great way to try a different Korean food that I had never tried before. It was on set all the time. And we would often eat together in a tent, or sometimes we'd eat in our trailers, and sometimes we'd eat in each other's trailers. Really depended on the day and like how tired everyone was and how like stressful the day was. After lunch, first we'd go into after lunch touches to make sure you like didn't mess up your makeup too much from eating food, and touch up your hair, get changed and whatever. I would say you probably shoot for another 5 hours, something like that. So in total, a lot of the days were often like 14 to 16 hours. Our longest day was 18 hours, or my longest day was 18 hours, which was like a new record, which was a wild day. But it was kind of exciting to prove to myself that I could do an 18-hour day and still be alive. If I was not actively shooting on set, you could definitely find me at Crafty, which is the snack table. And that was a pretty safe bet that I would be somewhere in that vicinity. There's a lot of good snacks in Korea, and they had just like an endless amount of a lot of junk food, which I'm personally a very big fan of. So I was there quite often. I'd probably go to sleep at like 12:30, let's say. And then the next day, if I got picked up at 5:30 this day, normally my pickup's a little bit later the next day, and it incrementally gets later throughout the week because of turnaround time and because of all the rules and whatever. So I would say the next day I probably got picked up at like 6:30, and then got excited to do it again.